planned, they arrived at 12:30 on the dot. Rather than knocking on the door, they phoned you and said that they were parked outside and sat in the car. You opened the door and encouraged them to come in, if only for a few minutes. Reluctantly, they got out of the car, removed a few bags from the boot, and followed you into the house. As you closed the door, they hovered nervously in the hallway. You offered to take their coats, but they declined. They wouldn't be staying for long. They left their bags in your bedroom. You always felt a little odd when they went in your bedroom. Not that you had anything to hide, but it was your private space. The fact that they entered without asking made you feel like a child. She explained that the blue bag contained your supplies and that she hoped that she had brought the right ones. You were to check this before they left. You quickly led them to the kitchen and asked whether they would like anything to drink. A cup of tea, a coffee. They asked what you were having. Didn't want to be any trouble. Then she remembered. She had come prepared. Now there's a surprise. She had made up a flask of tea, and they'd drink this. He didn't speak. You gave them a couple of mugs, but she said they didn't mind sharing from the flask. It would save with the washing up. Despite telling them to take a seat, they stood, watching you as you made yourself a drink. You asked what they would like to do about lunch. You could make lunch for you all or take them to a little cafe that had just opened around the corner. You needn't have asked. They'd brought their own packed lunch. They didn't want to cause any hassle. They were happy to eat in the car. Well, they could eat anywhere, at any time. But it was nearly lunchtime. They were in your hands. You suggested having lunch in your house. They looked nervously at each other. They looked nervously at each other and agreed. After all, they were flexible. They'd fit in. You prepared some food for yourself, reiterating that you'd be happy to cook for them. You gave them a couple of plates for the sandwiches, but they refused. There was no need. They would spread out the cling film to catch any crumbs. It would save on the washing up. You sat down at the table and began eating your lunch while it was hot. Only then did they take a seat at the table. Well, she perched on the edge of her chair, and he sat with his back to the rear of the chair, but his legs were twitching, moving up and down rapidly. She removed their sandwiches from her handbag and handed 2 white rolls to him. She kept the brown roll for herself. He had a swig of the lukewarm drink in the flask, scowled in disgust, and offered it to her. She knew that he preferred to eat his chocolate before his fruit. So she handed this to him and left his apple on the table for when he was ready. She opted to leave her favourite to the end, so ate her banana before her chocolate bar. He used the cling film from his sandwich to wrap around the core of his apple and chocolate bar wrapper and put this back in the bag that they'd been taken from. He took out a couple of maps and placed them on the table. They wondered if you would like to go on a walk. He had a couple in mind. He gave a brief summary of each one. How long it would take to travel, the distance of each walk, a description of the terrain, an overview of any points of interest on the walk, and the name of the pub that you would visit at the end of the walk. The choice was yours. They had no preference. They were flexible. As you gazed at the maps laying on the table, you wondered what your housemate would think if they saw the three of you at that moment. They were still wearing their coats, sat uncomfortably, eating a packed lunch and drinking from a flask that they had brought with them. And you just sat as uncomfortably, eating your own food.